Hey gang, straight from JTech and welcome to another JTech video. And in today's video I'm going to get back to the roots of this channel and we're going to talk about products. I hope you enjoyed the last gaming video. I'm willing to do a bit more gaming in this channel, so I will see what happens with that. But for now we're going to go back to talk about consumer tech and a company that's been dear to my heart since I was 9 years old and possibly even since I was young, and that's Nokia. And they recently announced that the Nokia 6 phone will be sold in the US. And well, this phone came out late last year in China, much to many people's disappointment. But it's a phone that has seen a company that has been there and thereabouts in terms of mobile innovations. Nokia are back as HMD, and now they will produce phones that they say will bring Nokia back again. And so my question today in this video is, will Nokia be the same old Nokia we know and love, the Nokia we all believed in and trusted as the phone company in the world? Now here's my thing about Nokia. Apart from them being my favorite OEM in the world ever, I really cannot say that they will be the same old Nokia we know. As far as I'm concerned, this is HMD Global and they're just using the Nokia license and the Nokia brand name to make phones that will run on Android. But before we get deep into the phones, I just want to look at the perspective of how Nokia could go in the next couple of years if we are truly to take them seriously as a big player in the mobile industry. For one thing, Nokia have decided to go back to their roots and embrace each and every marketplace. As we know, they have created a phone for the mid-range, the low-end, and the feature phone, which is the 3310 refurbished. Their smartphones, the Nokia 5, Nokia 6, and the Nokia 3, are really well-rounded phones. But the catch with these phones, apart from any different phone that's made either in China or anywhere else in the Far East, is that these phones cater to each price point and are also come with updates, which is rare for any Android phone which is made outside of Google or Motorola. Many people saw what the Nokia 6 was all about last year. It came out with a low-end Snapdragon chip, 3 gigs of RAM, 12 megapixel rear camera, 8 megapixel in front with a fingerprint scanner. People were not really disappointed with the phone and they were not really impressed by it either, and the launch of this phone went down quietly, and so far the Nokia 6 has had hit or miss reviews. People are saying it's a really good phone for the price. It's pretty much a mid-range phone, warming us up for what many people are calling the Nokia 8 or the Nokia 9. But according to Nokia's, or HMD's CEO in this case, that Nokia 6 is not going to be the final flagship phone Nokia will release this year. So we're waiting for the Nokia 8 or the Nokia 9 in the next few months. We've seen leaks and renders of this possible beast phone that will come with a Snapdragon 835, 4 gigs of RAM, a 12 megapixel shooter and 8 megapixel in front, possibly even a dual camera option at the back. So the Nokia 6 is not going to be the only option. It's just a mid-range phone that is announcing Nokia at their back. I see why they want to do this. They don't want to go all in and face off against Apple and Samsung and HTC and Google and release this phone that's going to take on the world only for it to fall flat. This is a company that not long ago said that using Android OS on a Nokia phone is like pissing in the snow to keep warm. Which is, now, it's funny now that they're using Android because, well, you know, it's the largest mobile operating system or largest operating system overall in the world. The thing about Nokia is they have to time this right. If they do want to come back as the same old company we love, they have to time their approach to things very right. Sure, they released a mid-range phone last year which had decent specs, but we are still waiting for that Nokia, that one we know that can innovate and create mind-blowing phones. These are the guys who brought you the N series, the guys who brought you the 6600, which was my first ever phone. These guys brought possibly the greatest phone ever made in the original 3310. What will separate Nokia from the Samsungs and the Apples and the Huaweis and Oppos and OnePluses of this world? We're yet to see that. People are now beginning to create near bezel-less phones. People are now beginning to put 2 cameras at the back of their phones. People are now beginning to ditch, for some reason, the 3.5mm headphone jack. So they have it in them to create a mind-blowing phone. What feature do we need in this smartphone that would dissuade us from getting an iPhone or a Galaxy or whatever else? And that's what we're waiting for Nokia. Is that what the Nokia 9 will be? Who knows? And the other thing about Nokia being great again is the pricing of their phones. They've priced them really competitively and they're clearly aiming at the mid-range to low-end market. They have created markets in China and India. Recently they've come out in the US, but I still believe there's going to be a massive launch for the next Nokia flagship there that they want to target for the US. And they're also coming into the lower regions, i.e. Africa and the Middle East, the low market penetration regions. So we might see the Nokia phones come in Zambia in the next few months. Although I did go in a store and saw the Nokia 6 priced ridiculously high, but I'm not going to get into that. We all know stuff in Zambia is ridiculously expensive. I put it to myself to see what I believe Nokia can do in order to become as good as they've been. And instead of emulating Samsung or Apple, they should take a leaf out of what their Chinese counterparts are doing in the Far East, what the likes of Huawei or Tecno or Oppo and these other phone creators, to see how they've penetrated the market. With Huawei at first, Huawei were not a really trusted brand when they first came into Zambia or Africa. They made simple, cheap feature phones that had basic functionalities, but as time went on, they started making smartphones and tablets, and now Huawei is the third largest smartphone maker in the world because of the large market share they have in the lower end countries and lower end regions like Africa and the Middle East. Same applies to Samsung in a way. Samsung built themselves up first with the Galaxy S2, and then they started making phones for each market, making low-end phones, mid-range phones, and even their flagship phones and the Note series as well. So with Samsung, you can see in the low-end series they have the J series, the mid-range series, they have the A series, and of course the flagship series is the Note and the Galaxy S phones. So in this case, Nokia have targeted each and every market. They've targeted the low end with the Nokia 3, the mid-range to a certain extent with the Nokia 5, and the Nokia 6 targets the upper mid-range. It's not quite a high-end phone, but it's a really prestigious phone if you look at it in terms of wanting to compete. So I will say this about Nokia. They are doing what we expect them to do. And many people are disappointed saying, oh, why is Nokia not releasing a third operating system that will challenge Android and iOS? Well, it's risky to do that in this day and age. First, you need to get a healthy amount of developers. That's why Windows Mobile, or Windows Phone in this case, failed. Although Microsoft are still working on it, it's technically a failed project. It was promising at first with the Lumia series, but it's been overall a massive disappointment. And to create a third operating system in this day and age is a risk, a huge business risk. And if HMD were to do that, they would face massive losses, because these days it's either an iPhone or an Android phone. And Nokia, of course, they did very well with Symbian. Symbian at some point was the largest mobile operating system in the world, but it got stale and old over time due to the innovations that were put in Android and iOS, and Symbian is pretty much a dead project. So for Nokia to come out and release new touchscreen phones with, say, Sailfish OS or Firefox, or maybe even go on with Windows, it would have been a massive risk and a slap in the face of HMD executives who bought the naming rights from the Nokia, from Microsoft, in order to make this company the company we all knew and loved. So can I say Nokia, will Nokia be great again? Will Nokia be a massive company again? Time will tell. Time will really tell. We've seen companies that have fallen off the wagon and tried to come back strong. Look at Kodak. Kodak ignored the rise of digital cameras, and now they're pretty much dead and buried. Apple, at the sacking of Steve Jobs, created a bunch of products that no one cared about, like the Newton or the Pippin console. Steve came back, he made sure that they made products that people want, and now they're the largest company on earth. Nokia have to take it very slow. If they do rush into it, we might never see Nokia again. I'm really happy and excited for what Nokia has in the future, but they have to take it slow. Will we see the same Nokia as we have seen in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s? I do not think so, because Samsung and the Chinese OEMs have created such a large market share that will make it impossible for any third-party player to create large innovations in this thriving industry. So I believe they can do very well enough if they eat into the budget markets, make aggressively priced phones with good specs, and guarantee that each phone will get an Android security update and software update in the future. Then they're good to go. Because the one thing I do like about Nokia phones in this day and age is that they have guaranteed their phones to get updates to the next version of Android and security patches each and every month, which is a really great deal. Not many people care about Android updates in Zambia for some reason, but as for me, a person who's been a fan of Android ever since the Galaxy S2, I would say that this is a really huge step, especially if you're buying a phone that costs, say, less than $500 or less than 5,000 kwacha. Usually those phones don't get timely updates. They only get the software upgrade a year later instead of a couple of months. But with Nokia, they are going to release security updates and software updates immediately as they come out on their phones. And so that's a good deal. Apart from the Pixel phones and Motorola phones, the new Nokia smartphones will get that. And my final take on what it would take for Nokia to be as good as they were again is the nostalgia factor. You've seen this with the 3310, the revamped 3310. And yes, I see where they're going with this. They want to target the not so smartphone savvy people, i.e. the elderly or the people in low network reception areas, i.e. villages and farms where the network reception is really low and there is no need for internet. That's the target for this new Nokia 3310. I get the nostalgia factor they're going for, but feature phones are pretty much non-existent. Ironically, I own one, but it's dead. From Nokia, of course, but it's... I couldn't see the reasoning behind what Nokia were doing on this one. You could understand that they do want that factor, that trustworthy factor, but feature phones haven't been released. I haven't seen a feature phone from Samsung in like almost 4 years. LG, Sony, these guys are all in with smartphones. And for Nokia to release it, well, you understand. The likes of Techno and Itel do release these feature phones on a regular basis. And I see them competing with those guys. And once Nokia get that market right, I believe they'll own that market well and good. But the thing about Nokia is they're starting from the ground up. And that's a good thing. They're taking it slow. If they make a mistake or did something like what BlackBerry were trying to do, take on the big guys by releasing flagship after flagship after flagship, which was a bad idea. Now where are BlackBerry? Only a few people and CEOs use their phones, but no one cares about BlackBerry as much anymore. Nokia, I applaud them for taking it slow and going from the ground up and giving us phones that will work for each and every one of us in the market. And yeah, that's a good thing, Nokia. Bravo, HMD. I really like the stance you're taking. So, my verdict on this, will Nokia be great again? Like I said earlier, time will tell. Will they be as huge? Will they be the highest selling OEM in the world again? I really don't think so. Samsung and Apple and the guys from China have created such a massive gulf for anyone to take that place. It's going to take at least 5 years for Nokia to get into the top 5 selling phone company in the world. It worked at some point with Windows. The Microsoft Lumia series was the 3rd largest selling brand in terms of smartphone market share. Do I see the same with Nokia and their new Android phones? Well, yes and no. Yes, in terms of how they price their products, especially if you come into the third world countries, third world places like Africa or some parts of the Middle East and India, you will find challenges of pricing. And the reason why Chinese companies have thrived in Africa is because of the aggressively priced phones. You can get a really cheap phone for an insane price and to work for you for 2 years until you want to upgrade to a better phone. And as long as they do that, they can build decent market share here in China, in India, Africa, but now they're targeting the US, so it's a good step for them. But will they become the same Nokia that we all knew and loved way back when? I don't think so. It'll take time for that to happen, and I hope it does, but in the long run, Samsung and Apple have created a massive gulf in class that I don't see anyone overtaking for the next 5 or 6 years. And it's going to be a duopoly between those two. Maybe with China coming up and coming strong, I don't see those two being overtaken anytime soon. And with Nokia, I see them being in the top 5, not so much in the top 3, but good luck to them and good luck to HMD, and I hope that they come up with better and much more stronger phones in the future to make us reminisce of the Nokia we all know and love and pretty much want to use over and over again. So yeah guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope you like this video, and this is my second upload in as many days, so I'm going on a marathon of uploads right now. Right now I'm going to have to do another video. I've got so much backed up, so much to do for you guys, so I hope you guys stay tuned. And enjoy everything that's coming on this channel. And yeah, what do you think? Will Nokia be the same Nokia we all knew again, or will it fall flat on its face like Kodak or BlackBerry? Leave your comments down below. Thanks again for watching. Talk to you guys next time. In my head.